everyone. I'm Hilburn Michael, the 2022 president of GRRA, and welcome. Thank you for joining us to talk about our present market in our Triad area. We have with us our three representatives from Triad MLS. Kathy Carpenter, who is actually the president of Triad MLS Board of Directors this year, with Alan Tate. We have Chris Pappalardo from Keller Williams One, and we have Kathy Haynes from EXP. So thank you all for joining us. Kathy Carpenter, I'm going to start with you. We're going to look at the trends and look at the overall market in 2021. How would you describe the overall markets, and what were the biggest trends that you saw?
Well, I think through the whole year, and then obviously in the year before, we saw less homes on the market and more sales, which was, as we know, has created the lack of inventory. We've seen really good appreciation on pricing, and I think Chris is going to go over some stats with you, but I think those are really critical highlights. I do think something that's going to be this year, and we saw just a little bit at the end of last year, is that NAR says we will probably see 4 to 5 small bumps in the interest rate. And I personally, I think the buyer was looking at the top of their range, and when they had an interest rate little hike, they changed their price range a little bit. So I hope it is not very much, and I don't think it's going to be big jumps, but I think that's something that we're going to have to talk to our buyers about more this year. And it's a little bit more of the same. But I think what we all need to take away is that we need to figure out how to create more inventory. That would solve a lot of issues. Not an easy task to do, though. So thanks, Hilburn.
So, okay, great. Thanks, Kathy. So, Chris, looking at the statistics from 2021, we saw days on market down. We saw the number of houses that sit on the market go down. So we had less houses, less days on market. How do you interpret those statistics, and what were the big takeaways for you?
Oh yeah, thanks for asking. And first off, thank everybody here for putting this out and making sure our constituents know what's going on in our market. It's just knowledge is power. So what's interesting is we've done a great job in Guilford County through the year. We actually put on 6.4% more listings than 2020. So we actually put more houses on the market, which is great. The challenge is we were 6.4% higher on new inventory. We were 13.8% higher on closings. So which has created even more disparity in current inventory. So great job, everybody. Sales are through the roof and inventory's gone up. It couldn't keep up with demand. Now, our sales price has also, because of lack of supply, really gone up a lot. You'll see in the single family homes, our average sales price went up 11% from January to January of 2020 to 2021, 11%. We went from a 263.5 average price point to a 292 in the single family home market. And you saw townhomes and condos. Now, what was interesting on them is they went up on average 15.8% from 167 to 193. And, we even had new listings in townhomes and condos up 19% from last year. But again, we sold 20.7% more houses. So again, we just have not caught up on inventory, and gives our marketers 16 to 14. So it's what Kathy said, and what we're all saying is we all need to find creative ways to get more listings and find more sellers who are willing to sell and move. That person that says, oh my gosh, I'd love to sell and cash in on this amazing market. Where am I going to go? And the reality is that the clock is ticking, that interest rates are going to keep climbing up, hurting affordability, so we've just got to get prepared for that in the coming year.
So, okay, great. All very important points. Kathy Haynes, so we are seeing the prices go up And we're seeing these houses sell very quickly. I think we're looking at supply and demand, the Econ 101. Do you see these trends continuing in 2022? And do you think that there are going to be any challenges that we haven't seen before? Anything new on the horizon, positive or negative? What's your outlook?
Okay, so, supply and demand, you're exactly right. That is the whole thing. As far as prices going up, it's really hard to say. I would think if the last 2 years were any indication, prices probably will certainly not go down, but may level off and may continue to rise. But, everybody's so concerned about that. I think this area of Guilford County and beyond was way due for a big bump up in appreciation. We have not seen appreciation like this in years and years and years, and sales had not been anything like this since 2005. So it was our time and it was our turn. So I'm happy that, all of our fellow homeowners are getting a big bump in their appreciation and equity. I was listening to Lawrence Yoon, who is the Senior Economic Advisor for the National Association of Realtors not too long ago, and he was talking about how in 2019, he was talking about how new construction in this area was about 5 years behind. So the only way to really get out of a super low inventory situation is, yes, to have more homes put on the market. But if it's one person moving to another home in the same area, it's a net zero. What we really need is new construction. And new construction is what our area has been sorely missing in. I don't know if it's a layover from the recession, but we just did not have enough builders building enough new construction. They are trying to now, but now they've got the COVID supply, chain supply problems, stopping up the whole pipeline, and prices have gotten so much higher than they've been in the last couple of years that, it's becoming prohibitive for a lot of people to purchase a brand new construction. So we've got a little bit of a conundrum going on here, but I do feel like, over the past 2 years, the builders have realized I need to find land and I need to build property, because that is going to be the wave of the future. With all of our new projects coming into the triad, I'm sure some people will be going to those new jobs from the triad, but there will be people moving from other areas. So we definitely need more inventory. Inventory, I think, is our biggest concern going into 2022. I think, like Kathy said, we're going to have a couple bumps in interest rates, but it's still a darn good rate. So I would say, put on your seatbelt and let's go, because 2022 is going to be just like, if not better, than the previous 2 years.
So exactly. Chris and Kathy Carpenter, is there anything you would add to that?
I would just reiterate what Kathy said. We are so spoiled with our current rates, like, when they're below inflation. And we were due for correction. Our homes had been undervalued for so many years. We're just finally playing catch up. Most other markets in America, you can't buy a house for the same price as rent. And, here for forever, it was like, oh, I could buy a house for cheaper than, rent. So we're due. And Kathy's right. We need new construction. We need lots of it. And we have lack of inventory. But for buyers out there, they're not going to be underwater. We can't see that happening simply because there's no supply. Prices get depressed when you have a ton of inventory. We don't see that getting corrected anytime soon. So, that's just the market we're in.
Buckle up, 2022.
That's right. It's going to be another fantastic year. And with all this industry coming, it's a really exciting time to live in the triad. So thank you all so much. I appreciate your time and sharing your wisdom with all of us. And we will look forward to comparing the statistics for next quarter. So thank you so much.